Ken Verderami, and welcome to another edition of the Ultimate Steel Shooter, where we talk about all things and only things Steel Challenge. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Before we get started on our continuation and our series of talking about the best way to shoot each particular stage, strategy-wise, technique-wise, and then also training tips on how to go about most effective way to training for that individual stage. Let's do the little housekeeping stuff as usual. Number one, if you haven't already done so, please remember, subscribe, like, and comment to these videos. It's really, really important to help the channel grow. Right? The way the Google algorithm works is that the more likes you get, the more comments you get, the more subscribers I get, the higher up in the search engines that the videos go, makes it easier for people to find it, and the channel grows that way. So please, it's really important. The analytics are still showing about 60% of people who watch all the videos are still not subscribed. So hit that subscribe button, change all the privacy settings so you don't get notifications, stuff like that if it bothers you, but you'll still be subscribed. All right, here we go. So today, as I said, we're continuing our series of talking about stages. And today's stage is speed option. Okay, now, if you're looking at that, that's obviously, for those of you who are not familiar, that's one of my Steel Shoot dry fire banners. It may look a little funny because it looks like the targets are really, really small. The reason for that is, you know, I designed these training banners to be practiced in your house at either 10-foot distance away from the wall or 5-foot. This is one of the 3 stages that are meant to be trained at 5 foot, and the reason for that is the transitions are so large on this particular stage that if I made it so that you could train it at 10 feet, this banner would be over 10 feet long, and I wanted to keep all the banners at 8 feet or less so they're easy to put on people's walls. So that's why it looks a little odd if you're familiar with the other banners. But go check them out at my website at steelshootbanners.com, all one word. You'll see all 8 stages for Steel Challenge. You'll see over 40 training banners for USPSA style training, both training drills and 15 different classifier stages, and of course the GSSF 3 official stages if you're a Glock competition shooter as well. All right, so let's get into it. Speed option is one of those stages that intimidates newer shooters, and that's for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's got some longer plates, right? It's got a 20-yard, 12-inch plate, and it's got a 35-yard stop plate. If you've never shot outer limits before, let's say because you're the way your range is set up, you may have never actually seen this before until you get to a match, and it can be pretty intimidating with those long ranges. The other one is the stage is pretty wide. There's really big transitions as well, and that tends to intimidate people as well. But this doesn't need to be that intimidating. The way people get in trouble on this stage, number one reason is shooting order. They pick absolutely the wrong shooting order. There's really only one way to shoot this particular stage, and go to a big match, right, and watch the elite shooters, right, the Super Squad shoot this. You will see every single Super Squad guy shoot it exactly the way I'm about to tell you, okay, and we'll talk about the reasons for that. So let's, so shooting order, remember my stage numbering system is, when you're looking, standing in the box, you number the plates, leftmost one that you can see as 1, and then simply go across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wherever the stop plate is, substitute stop for the number. Okay, so 5 is the rightmost, 1 is the leftmost. So on this particular stage, the shooting order that you should be shooting is 5, 4, 3, 1, 2. Stop plate is 2, the 35-yard plate. Okay, again, 5, 4, 3, 1, 2. And the way that works is 5 is the 15-yard plate all the way to the right. 4 is that that really close plate, right, at 8, 7 yards. And then 3 is a 20-yard plate. Then you go all the way to 1, which is all the way to the left, and then back to the stop plate, which would be 2, all the way at 35 yards. Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 1, 2. I see people shoot this all sorts of crazy ways. None of them help you, right? A lot of guys are intimidated by drawing to a 15-yard plate. And so what they do is they draw to plate number 2 sometimes because it's a really short plate. Or they draw to number 1. Both of those, right, are 8 and 10 yards. So they think that's a better idea. The problem with that is, remember, basic overall steel challenge strategy is you want to eliminate reversal transitions whenever possible and try to have one or none and no more than that. So the way to get one reversal transition is shoot 5, 4, 3, 1, and then do it one reversal back to the stop plate. If you shoot one of those intermediate plates first, you're going to do 1 and then 2, at least sometimes 3 reversal transitions. Every time you do a reversal transition, you end up adding more risk, and you certainly add way more time to the stage, because remember, a reversal transition by definition, you have to actually stop moving and then completely reverse directions. That all, no matter how fast a shooter you are, you take 2 guys of the exact same ability and you have one shoot one reversal transition on any kind of shooting order and another shoot 2 reversal transitions. The guy who shoots 2 reversal transitions is going to be slower than the guy who shoots 1 at the same shooting ability. Right? There's no way around that. So do yourself a favor and give up those what appear to be easier shooting orders because they're costing you time. Talk about that in the training section as well, but just you've got to learn to shoot that, draw to that 15-yard 12-inch plate. It's a 12-inch plate. It's only 15 yards. It's not that difficult a target to go after, and the benefit in time is tremendous. All right, so that's the first thing. The second thing, and this is something that you don't hear a lot about, but the pros, right, the top shooters all do this. I'm going to break this stage up into what we call 2 mini stages to shoot it more effectively. So the first mini stage is plates 5, 4 in close, and then 3 to 20 yard. Okay, so 5, 4, 3 is the first mini stage, and then you transition, because you're doing a relatively wide transition, to 1, and then the second mini stage is 1 stop. Okay, and you want to think of that as you're shooting it as actually 2 distinct mini stages. It'll help you in shooting. It'll actually help you shoot the stage faster and avoid transition mistakes as well. And part of the reason you do that is the way you're lined up and the way the stage plates are grouped facilitates this 2 mini stage concept. So if you think about it, you look at the plates, 5, 4, and 3 are kind of in one group here. If this is the stage, if this is the whole stage, the first stage. And if you look at, now this is a little misleading because of the way it's only 5 feet, but 5, 4, 3, that's the first part of the stage. When you get on stage for real, you'll see the transitions between 5, 4, and 3 are relatively short, okay? So you're going to shoot 5, 4, 3, and then the next thing you're going to do is transition to the second mini stage, and that's the largest transition on the stage. Going from 3 to 1 is actually a fairly wide transition, okay? And so now you're mentally transitioning to the second part of the stage, and you're going to go transition and then go 1 stop. And the transition from 1 to the stop plate is very, very short. There's almost hardly any movement at all. And even though there's physical distance between those, because the stop plate is 35 yards and that plate is 10, that shortens that angle tremendously, and it's a very narrow transition. So you can shoot it very easily without a lot of movement. All right. One last time. So again, 2 mini stages. First one is 5, 4, 3, and then transition 1, 2. Okay, that's the kind of the way the cadence should go as well. If you learn to shoot and think of the stage in that context, this stage is way, way easier to shoot. Okay. Last thing about this stage is where to stand in the box. I like to stand pretty much in the center of the box, between plate number 3, the 20-yard plate, and plate number 2, the stop plate. Okay, the reason for that is twofold. The hardest, the most difficult plate relatively on this stage is not the stop plate at 35 yards, right? It's the 20-yard plate number 3. That is a smaller shooting area, target area, than the 35-yard 18 by 24 inch rectangle. And so that is relatively more difficult. And so you want to be, you don't want to have your body angled when you're, and complicate things when you're shooting a difficult shot. So that's part of the reason to be straight. And then also, the stop plate is not that farther off in angle. And again, you want to be, when you finish a stage, you would prefer not to have your body turned off angle and be shooting straight if at all possible. And so by essentially lining straight, yes, you're going to start turn, right? 5, 4, 3, you're straight for the hard one. 1, 2, and you're back again straight for the stop plate. So by standing pretty much in the middle, that helps you with those two aspects of the stage. Not all stages are like that, as we talked about. Remember we talked about 5 to go, where you kind of stand all the way to the right. This one you can stand right in the center, and it works fine. All right, let's talk quickly about how to train this most effectively. Number one is you've got to get that first shot, that draw to that 15-yard target off. You got to nail that. So you need to spend a lot of time working on that, right? It is 15 yards, and it's also angled. One of the most severe starting plate angles we have in Steel Challenge, because you're off to the one side or the other. And it doesn't matter whether you're left hand or right hand, you're off on an angle. And so again, keep your legs straight, and you're going to rotate your upper body to be positioned and ready to draw on that first target, and then you rotate in. And again, what that does, right, is you are uncoiling as you move through the stage, as opposed to coiling, as opposed to tensing up. You're relaxing or uncoiling. You're a much more relaxed way to shoot. So that's the first thing. Do the draw +1 drills, but learn to shoot that first plate, number 5. You've got to get that draw time down, and you've got to get confidence that you can hit that at speed every single time. If you miss any stage, when you miss the draw plate, you're in trouble from the get-go. So you've got to be able to nail that draw, and you're going to be able to do it at speed every time. The next thing you want to do is you want to work on the micro transition from plate 2, the short one, to 3, the 20-yard plate, right? That is critical as well. So you want to do micro transition drills for there. And then the other thing you want to do is, the second micro transition is practice from 3 to 1. That is the longest, most difficult transition. And again, you're moving from mini stage 1 to mini stage 2. So you want to practice that transition at the 20-yard, and then transition to 1, and then finish. That's another transition you need to work on. And then the other thing you want to work on, again, is this concept of shooting 2 mini stages. So you can practice a micro drill where you draw to 5 and shoot 5, 4, 3, and then don't fire around, but dry transition to 1 and practice that. So 5, 4, 3, transition 1, and stop. And then you can do the other reverse, or the other piece of the stage, and start on with the gun pointed at 3 on the timer, shoot 3, and then practice a complete transition, 1 stop. Okay, you'll find that that's not as difficult. The real difficult part is getting the first mini stage done, and then that transition from 3 to 1. Those are the key elements that you want to spend most of your practice time on as when you're working on the stage. And then do not forget to practice the overall stage with this 2 mini stage idea. This is the only stage where we have that kind of concept that works, and so you want to get ingrained of shooting 5, 4, 3. There's kind of this little pause as you move to the big transition, 1, 2. So spend some time actually shooting the stage and get comfortable with the 2 mini stage idea for shooting it. All right, guys. I think that pretty much covers the stage. Again, don't be intimidated by a speed option. It's of the 8 stages, it's certainly relatively on the more difficult and less difficult, but don't let that intimidate you. It's not that difficult a stage to shoot once you learn a couple of these key strategy concepts, the number 1 of which is shooting order. Whatever you're doing, if you're not shooting 5, 4, 3, 1, 2, I would highly recommend you start learning to shoot it 5, 4, 3, 1, 2. That one change alone will change your times dramatically in this stage. Okay, guys, as I mentioned before, if you want to check out my dry fire training banners, please head on over to steelshootbanners.com. You can see all the training banners for Steel Challenge, USPSA, Classifier stages, and the Glock Shooting Sports 3 official stages. We have a plate rack there if you want a plate rack in banner form to play around with. It's all there. Don't forget my 2 books, the only 2 books on the market dedicated 100% to the sport of Steel Challenge. Do you feel the need for speed? And the game within the game, the mental side, conquering the mental side of Steel Challenge, both available at Amazon Books, of course. And as always, remember, slowing down is never the right answer. Never. You need to learn to see faster.
Great.